And I think I just want to show you, hey, well, all right, I'm losing my mind. Um, yeah, debugging. Simple exe hacking with OllyDbg. That's what I wanted to show you. All right. So we
Thought
are
we were doing DLL hacking.
we already did that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
Yep, you already did that one. Yep, good. However, that's fine. Don't be sorry. Go ahead and speak up. Anything that doesn't look right. But anyway, this one I think would be fun. So we're just going to do the same putty file. We're going to modify this putty, and it gives you some good practice using OllyDbg. So we have this putty file here, and earlier what we did was compress it with UPX, but we're done with that, so I'm going to throw this one away. And I'm just going to make another copy of this one, Control C, Control V, and use F2 to modify the name to putty2. Because I've learned to always keep a copy because I frequently make a mistake and overwrite my original. All right, and we already saw that when you run this, it opens a command prompt, and then it offers you this login as message. So we're going to mess with the code that does that. So let me open OllyDbg, our main tool here. All right, and I don't have administrator rights, but I don't need them. I'm just going to mess with that putty, and it's in user land. So I will open desktop putty. There it is, putty2. Let's use putty2 so I don't mess with my original. All right, so here's putty. Now, I would like to find the text that prints this message, login as. Olly has a great feature. Right-click, search for all referenced text strings. This will find not just strings the way bintext does, which just finds any series of bytes that is printable. This is going to find strings that are actually used in commands. So these are real strings used by the program. So here's the in putty. I'm looking through putty for it, and now I can right-click, search for text, and I'm going to search for login as. And say OK, and let's see, maybe I have to go to the top or search both ways. Let's try going to the top. That's my favorite trick there. I go to the top and click. Now right-click, search for text. There we go. So it finds a command, push this address, and that address points to login as. Now there are going to be two of these, so I'm going to press F2 to put a breakpoint on that command, and then search for the next. Search next. It finds another one, so I press F2 again to mark that one. And now I'm going to search next, and it doesn't find any more. So there are two places where that string is, and I don't know which one is actually responsible for printing this message. So I put a breakpoint on both of them, and now I can find out which one is used. So I'll just do debug restart. It's not really necessary, but it's my habit to just restart it to get to a clean start. And now I can run the program. So I run it from here. It runs. It's kind of slow. It pops up this box. Now I need to give it the name of a server to connect to, so I give it ad.samsclass.info and open. Now it's trying to pop up the box and print that message, and now it hits the breakpoint. So now I know which breakpoint it was, 41C B6E. That is the address of the command that prints that message. So I can remove the breakpoints. If I view breakpoints, I think, yeah, there they are. I can remove them here. Right-click, remove. Right-click, remove. All right. I don't need them anymore. And I'm going to mess with the program here. So if I wanted to change the message it printed, one thing I could do is just change that address. Now, if you right-click, you can follow in dump immediate constant. It will take the address referenced in this instruction and put it in the dump pane down here. So this address is 467C7C, and here it is. 467C7C points to this hex code, which is login as, followed by a space and a null byte to terminate it. So I could change text down here, but right now I'm just going to cut off the L. I'm going to change that address by 1, from 7C to 7D. So I right-click, and assemble. And it pops up a little box showing me the current command, and I can just change the last character to a D. And click assemble and cancel because I'm done. And it changes to red, showing I've modified it. And yeah, the videos are on the same page where all the projects come from, right here at the Windows Internals page. That's where they are. Anyway, so now that changes to red, so I've changed the program, and now I can save the modified program. The one thing that is really frustrating about Olly, that took me a while to get, you have to save it after every change. If you make several changes and save it, it won't really get all those changes. So when you change it, go to the section where you changed it and right-click and save it from there, because these sections, these often refer to different sections of code, and you don't get them all. So I'm going to copy to executable all modifications. That pop-up word is lying. It says all modifications. It doesn't really get them all. That's why I've learned to always save after every change, after many frustrating experiences. So I copy all, and now I have a program, putty2.exe, which is modified, and I can right-click and save file. And like I say, here's where I sometimes forget to change the name and over my original, but when I'm careful, I keep incrementing this number. So that's putty3.exe. I've now made a very small modification in the running of this program. So if I run putty3, which I think that's putty3, yep, and then I give it the name of a server, ad.samsclass.info, and open. Now it prints login as with an O. Now, you ought to be upset at this point. This shouldn't have worked since the days of like MS-DOS. Microsoft signed code. So what is going on here? Here's the original putty. If you right-click this and go to Properties, it has a digital signature tab. And the digital signature tab shows that somebody named Simon has signed it. And if you go to Details, it tells you the digital signature is okay. And the whole point of a digital signature is you can't modify the program. So what's going on here? What's going on is Microsoft knows and they just don't care. Go to Properties. It still has a digital signature tab. It still says it's signed by Simon. But when you go to Details, it tells you the signature is not valid. But it just lets me double click and run it anyway, which I think is highly rude. Why doesn't it at least pop up a warning box or something to tell me you're running something that is not passing the signature check? I would like a Microsoft engineer to explain to me what's going on here. But anyway, you can just modify signed code and Windows will just run it blithely. So that's the first modification. You just change one letter, and then I think you get a flag showing you got that right. And then you can change more. Let's change the message completely by just typing in a whole new message. You can go into Olly. Let's take putty. I'll go back to putty2, I guess. Let's run Olly again. And if you want to get my flag, you have to make exactly the right change. I'm just going to make a change for demonstration purposes here. So I open putty2 again. And now I can go to that address with right-click, go to expression, and I might even have it memorized by now, but it's on this page plenty of places. There. That one, 41CB6E. Okay, 41CB6E. There it is, that instruction. Instead of modifying the address, I can modify the data. So follow in dump, immediate constant. There's the data, so I can just edit this. Like that. I can binary edit. And now I can just change the message to say something else like darkness. Okay, now that turns red because I've changed it. So now I change it by right-clicking down here. Right-click, copy to executable file. And now right-click, save file. And I'm going to call that putty4. Oops, and I fouled up the name. 4. All right. And that one will now print the message darkness. when I give it ad.samsclass.info, there, now it prints darkness for you to log in. And so like I say, you can cheat at Windows games, give yourself more lives, change the number of points and all that jazz, and people do. So that's good, clean fun. And there's a couple of challenges there to modify PuTTY. And then there's another program to play with, which is also really very nice. So I really like doing this one. So let's get this one, 000.exe. I'm going to copy the link address and download it in my virtual machine because I don't think it's already there. I'll just open Firefox and paste in that address. All right, so there's that file. I'll save it. That'll put it in the downloads folder, I think. And let's take a look at it. If I go here in downloads and do a dir, there it is, 0000.exe. This came from EasyCTF, which is a fantastic capture the flag contest, and there was 65,000 of these you had to do. I've got just a few of them in this project. So if you run this, it's a password guessing game. It says launch codes, and if you give it a number, it insults you. My dog figured this out before you. There is apparently a correct launch code, but I don't know it. So that's the game. Can you figure out what the right launch code is? And it turns out I do not know how to find the right launch code, but I know how to cheat, and that's what we're going to do. So you run Olly, and I'm not an administrator, but again, I don't need to be an administrator for what I'm doing. And I go into downloads, which is, I have student here, and then downloads is here, and then 000 is here. Okay, so here is that program. The great thing about this program, which is really good for students, is this entire program is easy to read in assembler. And this is pretty much the whole program. I can even fit it on one screen. There, that's it. That's the whole program in assembler. And it's incredibly simple. It just makes a few system calls. It calls putS to print the message launch codes. It calls scanf to read a number from the user, and then it either prints, wow, you got it, or I think my dog figured it out. And so this is it. You can read it. This part over here makes it easy to read. And now, so after it reads the data from the user, over here, it does some stuff, and then it does a compare. And based on the results of the compare, it does a jump not zero. And the jump not zero either goes down here to 402.05a or it doesn't. And 402.05a is here, and that's going to print, I think my dog figured it out. So that's failure. Success is when it doesn't do this jump. So if I go here, I'm going to win. So what I can do is just not do the compare and not do the jump, and then I will always win. So all I have to do is get rid of those two instructions. So take the compare, right-click, and assemble, and replace them with NOP, no operation, the assembly language instruction that does nothing. Assemble, that takes all 6 bytes worth of that long command and turns them into NOP. And now I just keep assembling till I get down to the jump. And now I hit it one more time to get rid of this one too. There. Now that's a game I can win. Whatever answer you give it, you will always win. So all I have to do is save these changes. Right-click, copy to executable, all modifications, copy all, right-click, save file, and now that's 0000 mod. I modified file. And now when I run that game, 00 mod, and I give it 11, I win. I'll win no matter what I do. So, that's a good, clean, fun thing, and there's some more challenges here where you can automate the patching process and patch hundreds or thousands of them, and so on. But it's good, clean fun, gives you some practice using OllyDbg and understanding how this worked. So, that's what I wanted to show you. Those are fun ones to do.